Uncharted. So far, I've covered quite a bit on this trip, both above and below ground. And I've found that for those who want to craft a community that cares, it takes commitment as well as a willingness to think outside the box. And there's no exception for the fish and wildlife agencies that manage nearby Kentucky Lake.
Today we're doing intensive sampling for Asian carp. The sampling is to try to determine the relative abundance in Kentucky and Barkley Lakes.
Okay.
And then we can use that information to help determine what kind of effects or impacts commercial harvest is having on the carp population.
Asian carp in general, and more specifically silver carp, are the most significant threat facing our sport fisheries in the Tennessee River as well as the Cumberland River. Silver carp and bighead carp feed on plankton. Those form the base of the food chain in an aquatic system like these lakes. So if there's too much competition, then we start ending up with a scenario where there's not enough bait fish for our sport fish to consume.
Our agency realizes that Asian carp is not a local issue, it's a national issue. To really solve the Asian carp problem, it's going to take effort from partners on all levels. Right now, we realize that commercial harvest is our best method of removing large quantities of these fish from the reservoirs. And one of our main focuses is trying to support that industry to help them so they can fish more often and remove larger quantities of fish. It's a whole world under the water that we don't know a whole lot about, and we don't always appreciate as people. And so, out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. Overall, our agency is doing a good job at trying to manage that for the betterment of the resource.
For most folks, Asian carp are seen only as invasive species. But for the collection of state and federal agencies that manage these waters for both industry as well as recreation, they're a reality either way. And as we all know, knowledge is power. Studies like these not only allow management teams to better assess the situation, they assist in developing solutions, such as the commercial fishing industry that's servicing around these species. And if we can take on a challenge, create jobs, and come out with something tasty in the end, now that's an example of craft at its finest.